Well, we thought that the Lions had finally started to turn the page on the third quarter woes when they scored a touchdown versus the Packers on Thanksgiving. Only then to come out in the third quarter, go 3-and-out, and punt on their first drive in the second half versus the Saints. This has been a common issue all season, and now it is such a joke to the opponents that when they win the coin toss to start the game, they give the Lions the ball in the third quarter. It's something that you never see. You never see teams do this. Most teams love to start on defense and have the ball to start the second half. So here we are today versus the Bears, and the Lions come out flat yet again. Versus the Bears on the first drive, they go 3 plays and punt. And that's not what made me cringe. It was the fact that the Lions did it again on the second drive and again on the third drive. And to make matters worse, the fourth drive, they fumbled a snap on the second play, turning the ball over. 4 straight drives with play calling that you would expect from a high school coach. And then what really got my attention was the next drive. The Lions have to get a score, so I get it. They have to go for it on fourth down. The clock is now an issue, and at this point, they're on their own 34-yard line. How they went out is what really has me nervous. Ben Johnson called a shotgun delay counter to the right side of the offense. That is not only missing its starting right guard that has been a sieve all day, but they're running right at Montez Sweat. The play immediately gets blown up in the backfield for a 4-yard loss. Why on earth are you calling a delay on a 1-yard play? Why are you even calling a counter on a 1-yard play? The Lions needed 1 single yard, go heavy, power it up the middle, or do what they've always done and throw a short pass over the middle to Laporta. You don't start your 4th and 1, 7 yards deep, and delay the handoff. You're just asking for the defense to come and blow you up and hit you in the mouth. It's just unacceptable. This is not what we're expecting to see out of the Detroit Lions in December. Honestly, I wouldn't expect to have seen it in any game, but why is it happening now? Why has it happened the entire season? That was 5 straight drives for 21 yards. And then the Bears get an easy field goal off of that for having such a short field. The defense played pretty well to make sure that they didn't have a touchdown. The Lions get it back. They drive another 11 plays for only 37 yards and turn it over on downs yet again. 6 drives, 58 yards, 0 points, 1 turnover, an entire second half wasted. All because of vanilla play by Ben Johnson. I don't understand what's going on, but the one thing that I am going to say is this. Ben Johnson didn't get full control over the offense till about week 10 of last season. The real genius behind this offense has been Dan Campbell, who was calling the plays all last season. Plays that gave us the number 1 offense for like the first 5 or 6 weeks. Plays that have kept us as one of the number 1 offenses in the league for now 2 seasons. Now, I'm not saying that there's a big problem with Ben Johnson. I'm not. He is an incredible offensive coordinator with the way that he does generally call really good plays and mix things up and is put his team in position to win. Or I should say, put his offense in position to win. But the question is, why is he having so much trouble now? Have the offenses figured this out? Because in a game where, one, you really should win, the Bears' offense and defense was not great today. The Lions were just bad. Really bad. And it completely changed the way I think about the rest of the season. The Lions completely imploded today. It wasn't just Ben Johnson's play calling, but it's also this defense. I mean, the defense has been bad for now 3 seasons. We have taken steps in the right direction in some areas and some facets and metrics of the game, but it hasn't been enough. Yes, this defense and offense have all suffered injuries, but that still shouldn't take away from how you call a game. It shouldn't take away from basic fundamentals. Aiden Hutchinson needs to stop getting out of position. He was so far right on one of the last touchdowns when Fields scampered for an 11-yard TD. There was 30 yards between him and the end zone, wide open. Fields had all day to run, wherever he wanted to run, because Hutchinson wasn't on his edge again. No, he was playing left end, and he was somewhere over on the right hash. And then turns around and chases Fields and trails him by, 15 yards to watch them walk into the end zone. But that happens every week. It doesn't matter what team. It doesn't matter what quarterback. It doesn't matter what offensive line. It happens every week with Hutchinson. Just like how this is happening every week with this offense in the third quarter. Nope, Hutchinson wasn't held. Nope, he was not double teamed. Wasn't even chipped. Just nowhere to be seen containing his edge. But that's the same thing that he's been doing since he's been with the Lions. Not fixed. So there's certain things that can be fixed, right? And that's one of them. It's very simple. This is your box. You own this box. Do not leave this box. If you leave this box, that means everybody else is in trouble. Now, of course, this isn't all on Hutch. He got some great pressure today. So let's talk about Jerry Jacobs. Another pass interference penalty. Another giant completion for 38 yards in a TD. Every single week, Jerry is good for at least one PI or one holding call or an illegal contact. Something to help change the game for the opponent. Or how about, nobody's open, but yet the entire middle of the field is open for Fields to run to. Nobody's protecting the middle of the field. The defensive front seemed to do their job today, at least in the beginning of the game. They're getting pressure on Fields. He can't throw the ball, but he runs, and he runs because nobody is behind the defensive front within 20 yards. He could run for a first down almost every play. How can the AG and Dan Campbell not see this and say, you know what? I mean, there's only 5 receivers that could potentially be on the field, right? Or 4 receivers and a running back, or 2 receivers, 2 tight ends and a running back. I think you get what I'm saying. There's only 5 eligible receivers on the field. So if you've got those 5 covered and you've got 4 guys rushing, what are the other 2 doing? I said it in the pregame last week. The Lions need to go heavy in the box. They need to bring in more DBs, and they need to rush DBs or have a DB spy on Fields. Eyes always at Fields without their back turned. Someone has to have their chest facing Fields or any quarterback. I don't care who it is. This is simple, basic, fundamental 101 football. Yep. This is probably the first video that you're seeing me a little bit out of my shell and a little bit upset because the Lions should not be having these issues. Week in, week out, season in, season out. So who's to blame? Is it AG? Is it Ben Johnson? Is it Dan Campbell? Is it Brad Holmes? Brad Holmes didn't make the move at the deadline. We needed another powerhouse, either as a defensive tackle or a defensive end. Not only to support what we already had, but now because we lost Aleem McNeil, do you know how important that defensive tackle would have been right now? Or that extra defensive end? Now, I will say that Bugs and Broderick Martin and Benito Jones all had a pretty good day playing defensive tackle today. They got a lot of good pressure. They didn't allow a bunch of runs through the middle other than Fields, but your big 300-pound linemen are not going to be able to get pressure and then try to catch Fields at the same time. That wouldn't be a smart defensive plan. You have to have somebody behind him to play cleanup. So that's it for my rant. The Lions imploded today. Everybody's to blame. But I think I'm going to put more of this one on Ben Johnson in the offense for completely stalling out. They wasted the whole second half. And they gave up 7 points to the offense of the Bears. And with that, the Lions still lose 21-13. I've said it for over a year while doing this platform that your defense cannot give up 20 points. They give up 20 points, you're going to lose 9 out of 10 games. And that stat has pretty much stayed true this entire time. If you go back and look at week 11, the Lions and the Bears game was the only game that was different to that rule, the exception to that rule. Every game played that week, the loser scored less than 20. All right, y'all. I appreciate you watching this video. Lions imploded yet again. The rant is over for right now. We'll see. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.